Hey guys, it is John C. Morley here, serial entrepreneur. It is great to be with you guys on Inspirations for Your Life in the wee hours of the morning, September 9th, in case you guys are wondering. It is Monday in the wee hours of the morning, and you're tuned into Inspirations for Your Life at 12:32 a.m., whether it is 12:32 a.m., 12:32 p.m. It is so great to be with you guys and have I'm going to say another amazing episode for you guys, because I know you're definitely going to appreciate this. And we have a great master topic, as you know, for this week. And the whole thing we're talking about is anchoring. What is anchoring? And so we're gonna dive into that in just a second or so. But I think one of the most important things that a lot of people don't realize is that you have more power than you think you do. And I think this can sometimes be a challenge for some people because they just don't believe that they have that ability. I mean, they just don't. And I always told you before, your belief is a big factor to, whether you're doing something or whether you're not doing something. It can hinder you, and it can also help you, Alicia. I mean, that's something that is very, very important. And I know you're probably saying to me, "Hey, John, I don't get this." Well, it's about attitude, right? That's probably the biggest thing it's about. It's about attitude. So this whole week we're talking about a really amazing topic, ladies and gentlemen, and that topic is, what is anchoring? And of course, we're relating it to NLP, neuro linguistic programming. But when you think about anchoring, it's a skill that I think everybody should learn, and it's one that we're going to go into, let's say, pretty deep detail this week on the Inspirations for Your Life show. I think it's something that's going to be, pretty amazing. So definitely pay attention to this. So there are basically 5 keys. Okay. 5 keys to anchoring in neurolinguistic programming. Now, again, we're going through the higher level overview with you guys so that when we get into it, you'll be able to actually do what you need to do. So the first thing when we think about the 5 keys of anchoring is the intensity of the experience. If the intensity is not high enough, well, just go home, because it's going to be nowhere. The intensity has to be high. We've learned before with relationships and things like that if we don't have a high intensity, well, then it's not going to have an impact on us. Again, we're going to talk more about this, I assure you, in later this week. The next thing I want to talk to you guys about, and these are the 5 keys of anchoring, is the timing of the anchor. The timing has to be very precise. So again, what we're doing is we're going through the higher level overview, and then later in the week, we're going to go through some different anchoring things that you can actually do and use. So when we think about the timing, when is the anchor actually given, right? When is that hook made? So we'll talk about that. That's very, very important. Then the fact is that the anchor should be unique. The anchor should be unique. And if you're just joining us on Instagram, we're talking about what is anchoring. We just talked about, one of the most important things is the intensity of the experience. Then we talked about the timing of the anchor. And third, we're talking about the fact that the anchor should be unique. If the anchor is not unique, you're going to find that it's not going to work for you. Okay? That's what you're going to find. You're going to find that it is not going to work for you. And I know you're probably saying to me, "Hey, John, I don't even know what the heck anchoring is." So don't worry. We're going to get very deep, I promise you, into anchoring and give you lots of different examples so that you can choose to employ this in your life. The fourth thing, ladies and gentlemen, is consistently firing the anchor the same way every time. So when people think of consistency, they understand that something has to be the same way every given moment. If it's not the same way, then it's like how is it going to work now? How is it going to be different now? And if it is going to be different, then is that going to affect how my mind and body responds to something? And I think it really is going to respond, in a really unique way. But it comes down to the fact that it's about, you need to be unique. And when you think about an anchor, so you can't use a gesture that you've used before for something else. And we're going to talk about gestures. We're going to talk about how you can anchor. There are different ways that you can anchor. And I'm going to be going into this a lot more in detail. But first, we're going to be going into the higher level overview of, what is anchoring, like the parts of anchoring. We're going to talk about the different kinds of anchoring. And then we're actually going to go do anchoring later on this week. So this is a really amazing sets of episodes that you're not going to want to miss. Then lastly, repetition of the anchor use, okay? You have to repeat the anchor. You can't just do it one time. If you do it one time, then it's going to be like, your brain's going to be like, I don't know. Was that an anchor? Was it not an anchor? I mean, I have no idea what it is, right? So knowing that an anchor is something that you have to practice and repeat over and over again until your body decides to make that, let's say, an autonomous reaction, right? So it happens almost without thinking. That's what autonomous is, right? And if we can understand that it's without thinking, then I think our life is great on autopilot as long as the programs we're putting into our mind and body are the programs we want. I know so many people, ladies and gentlemen, that they're so unhappy with the programs in their body because they didn't put them there. And they're like, well, why am I reacting this way? Why is that happening? Right? Why, when this happens, do I get fearful? Why, when this person's around, I get nervous? Why, whenever this happens in my life, I get happy? Right? So we're going to really help you to understand anchoring. And we're going to help you understand how to create anchors in your life, because I think this is something that is very, very powerful, ladies and gentlemen. I mean, it's so powerful that if you don't understand it, it's like you're going to be missing so much, right? It's not just something that you do once. You know what anchoring is like? Anchoring is like the ability to read, right? What if you went around every single day in your life and you couldn't read, right? That'd be a problem, wouldn't it? So think of anchoring as like a staple in your life. Now, not everybody knows how to anchor, but I'm going to tell you something. People get anchored and they don't even know they're being anchored. Other people anchor others and they don't even know they're being anchored. They use it as a technique. Now, I always tell you this, don't use these techniques to manipulate someone. Always use these techniques for the greater good of all concerned. So let's go through these 5 techniques again. Again, the whole week we're talking about is what is anchoring. And so one of the things we talked about is the intensity of experience. Now, according to Merriam-Webster, because this is important to understand, you're saying, John, I don't know what intensity is. Well, according to our good friends here at Merriam-Webster, we're going to look up what intensity is so you guys know exactly what it is and have no qualms. Intensity is a noun. It's the quality or state of being intense. Well, that was really helpful, right? So let's look at the adjective. Intense, existing in extreme degree. Having or showing a characteristic in extreme degree, marked by or expressive of great zeal, energy, determination, or concentration, exhibiting strong feelings or earnestness of people. Okay. So I think that is probably, the most important thing that I want to share with you is that intensity. Intensity is really key in life, ladies and gentlemen. It is really, really key. So the next thing we talked about was timing. So timing has to do with like when something is presented. Is it before something? Is it after something? But It's at that specific time. Okay. These are all things that help. This is what makes the anchor stick. Unique, right? And if you're having trouble understanding what the word unique means, well, I'm going to tell you what unique means. Unique is a word, it's an adjective, being the only one sole, right? Being without a like or equal, distinctly characteristic. So that is unique. Unique is very important. You must have a unique anchor. You can't use one that was used for something else, right? Body just will not respond to that. That is so very, very important. All right. So now that we know a little more about that, let's talk about another thing that's important, and that is consistently firing the anchor the same way every time. Now, when I say the word fire, you might be saying, John, I have no idea what fire means. So, fire, when you think about fire in life, you think about, lighting a fire or things like that. Fire just means to present. Okay. If I said to you, the speaker was great at firing off facts that kept us curious and on the edge of our chair. Firing has nothing to do with fire. It's just that they're being presented. That's all it is. And so knowing that, I think, is an important piece, right? And the last piece of the 5 keys to anchoring in NLP, neuro-linguistic programming, is repetition of the anchor used. You can't just use it once, right? We've always said that repetition, right, is the mother of learning. Repetition is the mother of learning. And you might be saying, hey, John, like, how many times do I need to repeat something? And I think the most important thing about this is that it's something that is able to help you realize. So repetition is the mother of learning, the father of action, which makes it the architect of accomplishment. Zig Ziglar said that. And who said that repetition is the mother of learning? Again, that is Zig Ziglar, right? But when we think about repetition, we think about learning, it's not the easiest way for us to learn because we have to do the same thing over and over again. And maybe we don't want to do the same thing over and over again. Like, we're bored with doing this, right? Over and over again. But that's how it works, right? We do it over and over and over again. So I think that's a very, very, important thing. It is really key that we know what the 5 points of anchoring in NLP are to create an anchor. So it's the intensity of the experience. It's the timing of the anchor. It's the fact the anchor has to be unique, consistently firing the anchor the same way every time, and repetition of the anchor used. These are all key, or your anchoring won't work. So tomorrow we'll dive into another part of anchoring. We'll get some more high level, and then we'll get into actually some anchoring examples and different ways you can anchor people. And it's different than what you might have thought. Ladies and gentlemen, you know who I am by now, but if you don't know, I'm going to tell you, I'm John C. Morley, serial entrepreneur. It's been a privilege, pleasure, and honor to be with you this fantastic morning, actually evening to morning. And I'll see you guys again on another great show. But do check out my hat, believemeachieve.com, for my amazing, inspiring creations. Have yourself a fantastic evening or a great morning. And remember, anchoring is a key skill that none of us should be without.